Willie D Live.
What's up, family? In the mid to late 80s, Kool Moe Dee was an unstoppable force in hip-hop. I had him on my podcast, and he shared with me the story of how he fell out with the big bad giant of beer, Budweiser. Check out the video, leave your comments, and I'll come back with mine.
I never smoked, I never drank, never got high. And it wasn't about being a goody-goody. It's like, I'm not gonna, back in the day when I talk about being at my peak, I was at the peak of my game on the Budweiser Superfest. I fell out with them because I would not make a Budweiser commercial because I come from a mother who was an alcoholic, functioning alcoholic. And I said, you're not gonna use my popularity to help me sell beer, even though it's legal. I don't care if it's legal. It's detrimental to the black community, quite frankly, because we had so many drug addicts and alcoholics in our community. Because nobody plans to be an alcoholic. You become an alcoholic because you constantly do something that nobody checked. So for me, I thought it was counterproductive, and I was always looking at the bigger picture all the time, and thinking the past, present, and future always works for me for no matter what, either way.
I ain't got no problem with that. Kool Moe Dee, one of the best to ever do it. His battle against LL Cool J is legendary, will forever be at the top, really, really close to the top of the greatest of all hip-hop battles. Man, that was a heavyweight fight. They were going back and forth. I'm talking about, that's when hip-hop was actually kind of fun, you know. It was really fun. But it got away from that, fam, and now it's just a lot of killing. You know, a lot of killing, a lot of disrespect. Even when they were battling each other, you know, you kind of took it all in fun, right? You knew that it was going to be on wax. You knew it wasn't going to go any further than that. Today, man, not only are these boys getting killed, they're disrespecting the dead and so on and so on and so on. But getting back to Kool Moe Dee and Budweiser. So he's on the Budweiser Superfest. Back then, Budweiser Superfest was one of the biggest festivals in the country. And it was a traveling festival, meaning that they went from city to city with it. And it was always a big deal when the Budweiser Superfest would come to town. Your money guaranteed. Artists love to play the Budweiser Superfest because you didn't have to worry about your money. I know some of y'all, y'all out of the loop on this because you're not in the game, but a lot of times when your favorite artists don't show up, it's not that they blew you off, it's because the promoter took the money and ran. Yeah, sometimes the artists can be backstage. The artists might be backstage waiting for their money. They want to go on stage. They want to do it, but they also know if they go out there and get on that stage for free, or they take a deep discount and get on that stage, they know that the words are going to get out that the next promoter can do it, you know? So that's what happens. Now, there have been times, where an artist would show up for a show and it just didn't go so well. And the artist might say, you know what, man, you took a loss. I can see the loss, it's clear as day. I'm gonna go out here and still perform, So that's happened, to me, a couple times. That's happened to every artist. Every artist is going to experience that. Even the biggest of the biggest artists has experienced that at some point in their career. Moving on. Moe Dee say, man, I couldn't do it because my mama was a functioning alcoholic. It made me think about my own mom, because my mom was also a functioning alcoholic, but it didn't stop me from taking that St. Ives money. I'm gonna keep it a buck, fam, I'm gonna keep it a buck. We did do St. Ives commercials, and I really looked at it like I was selling beer to people who wanted to drink beer. Moe Dee said he never drank or did drugs his entire life. I never did drugs, but from time to time, I will have a drink, you know. And so I never looked at endorsing St. Ives as I was contributing to destroying the black community. And quite frankly, if I had an opportunity, the right opportunity today to endorse a particular brand that I rock with, I would still do it. I look at drinking and smoking and any other adult activity as adult activities. Obviously, kids are going to cross the line, but it's an adult activity. Just like when I was growing up, I would listen to Richard Pryor. I would learn his jokes and go back to school and try to pass them off as my own jokes. Obviously, I wasn't supposed to be listening to Richard Pryor, but I had to sneak and do it. It wasn't something that you could just do in front of adults. Get your head knocked off. So my aunt Vaughn used to have the Richard Pryor not cassettes. Oh, this is back in the day. This is the 8-tracks and stuff. The records and 8-tracks. So I would either play one or the other when she would leave and learn them, and then boom, take it to school and run with it. But again, that's an adult thing, so I wouldn't fault Richard Pryor for the content because he used profanity. That was meant for adult entertainment. So I look at it the same way I look at even sex, prostitution. I wouldn't be a pimp. I obviously wouldn't be a prostitute, but I look at it like, it's grown folks. It's a transaction between grown folks. Now, I know it's a thin line when you start talking about sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff, human trafficking. That right there is, all of them need to die. Every last one of them. That's right, I said it. They need to die. But just a straight up, a chick volunteering to say this is what I want to do, and she do it. You know what I'm saying? And she gets some money for it, man. And this dude, he want to pay her for it, man. Two adults, man. You know, I know some of y'all ain't gonna like what I'm saying, but hey, it's two adults. It's a transaction between two adults. She selling, he buying. They both grown. What's the problem? I'm not talking about kids and exploitation. I'm talking about grown folks. Back to Moe Dee. I think it's incredible that he never smoked or drank, especially considering that he was at one point one of the biggest artists on the planet. So he's had plenty of opportunities. He was out there traveling the world. Some of the biggest songs in hip hop. And he didn't smoke or drink. It was all around him. He didn't smoke or drink. I think that shows an incredible amount of discipline and restraint. Yeah, Moe Dee, salute, King, salute. And also, Moe Dee is one of the most principled dudes that I ever met. Real solid dude, a man of valor. Gotta respect that. No more talk.